They just like IPAs. Fuck them.
Misinformed, don't know shit.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Feel free. Take any of those people.
They may know about parking, but they don't know about beer.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Hoppy Craftsmen. I'm Chris. With me is
Nate. What's up?
And our guest this week, friend of the show, Jeff Breckon.
Hey,
yeah,
long-time listener, first-time caller. Glad to be here.
Right? And even better, Jeff brought a beer for us this week.
Yep, he did, and we might as well get right into it with the tasting.
Oh, yeah.
Because we already poured it. We've already been talking. We've already been talking shit.
I haven't even tried it yet.
So. It's good.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
So normally we do is we try to go through the steps of reviewing a beer. So first of all, it would be the aroma of the beer. How does it smell to you? What does it smell like? Those kind of things.
It smells good. No, I mean, it smells pretty dank, to be honest with you. But it's also been in a growler for 30 something hours. But
hey, it's still. For
still
that being
delicious.
that long,
The
it's
IBUs
still
are high.
Really smelling good.
I can tell the IBUs are high. It's like I'm sorry to go to tasting, but it's dry.
No, it's all right.
It's good.
Okay,
it's dry and good.
Yeah, appearance wise, it is not necessarily straw. It's pretty much a kind of standard pale ale IPA.
It's nice,
cloudy.
It's hazy.
Yeah,
can't see a light through it at all.
That's nice. And then a little bit of small head retention on here.
And just a shout out to the brewery, I suppose, Thunder Canyon Brewing.
He doesn't say what are we drinking? What's it called?
Thunder Canyon Brewing. It is Sky Island IPA.
Tucson.
We went to Tucson and we're looking for a place to have a beer after some pleasantries we were dealing with, and of course, as we typically do, you go and you see what the IPA offerings are, and I always obviously I don't go to a brewery to try other people's beers, so this was the one that stuck out to me. It wasn't. They had like two or three IPAs. One was like a red IPA, and one was like a lower ABV session IPA. And this one just kind of spoke to me for some reason. And then they come and set this in front of me, and you got that super hazy, dank,
dank. Yeah, I was gonna say
opaque IPA that's becoming so popular.
Oh yeah,
and it doesn't look like it's full of lupulin powder like a lot of these ones, but it is nice and hazy, like from the oat, whatever they use to get it that way. But it is. It's not like orange juice, but it is nice and hazy.
Right. Yeah. It's hazy, but not to the point where you think you're drinking a glass of orange juice at this point. It's more fruit than actually
like
beer.
We've had recently.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the hazy, juicy IPAs, I think. It seems they teeter more in pale ale territory,
right?
Because you drink them and it's like, hey, this is good, and it's got that kind of citrus hoppy punch, but it doesn't have like that bitter hoppy punch. So I think this one kind of breaks that mold a bit, where it's like it's definitely an IPA. It doesn't blur the lines between an IPA and just a regular pale ale.
It's nice and bitter.
Right. I mean, then that's the New England style IPA is supposed to be, high hop aromas and that kind of thing, but low on the bitterness scale, very low IBUs. And this is, like I said, it's completely different. This actually has kind of the best of both worlds. It has that cloudiness, good hoppiness to it. It's really good. Untapped says this is
what's ABV on it?
6.5.
Nice. Wow,
and
nice.
then
I like 6.
You're pretty good. 70 IBUs.
I was gonna say it was high. It tasted. You could just tell. It's good though. Right. It's super good beer.
So overall rating 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5. What's Jeff?
I'd give this a solid 4 out of 5. Yeah. I may have done a little higher than that on an Untapped. But,
don't be a liar.
Every time I'm in a brewery,
people are going to check your Untapped and they come back and be like, nope, he rated a 4.25.
If I'm 3 beers in and I'm in a brewery, it's almost always a 5.
Right. Yes.
Even if I liked it, a little bit.
So this year, since we, last year we kind of did the year-end review, and I was trying to go through my Untapped as kind of like the baseline of, because I'm like, what I usually do is usually check things in there. I just don't put any notes in at all. I don't put any notes in whatsoever to Untapped. So I've been trying to be a little bit more diligent about when I actually do try a beer, just some quick something in a description, so that way it's just not just 3.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
It was a 2.
Yeah.
Why? Take that for what it's worth.
I don't know why it was a 2, but it was a 2. Yep. So
didn't like it.
I've been trying to get a little better at that.
Yeah.
It's funny. So we're talking about IBUs. I was reading an article and I can't remember it offhand, but it was basically a guy was at a bar and he was, listening to a bunch of people talk about craft beer, some young guys, and they actually, he was kind of following along with them and was agreeing with what they were saying. And a lot of acronyms were getting thrown around. And that thing that they said that he was kind of a little irked by was the IBUs. He said that they were like, oh, this isn't enough IBUs for me. I don't really like this because there's not enough IBUs. And he was like, he kind of went into basically describing why that necessarily isn't a good indicator if a beer is good or not, if it has good IBUs. And I was reading, I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever been like, I don't like this beer because it doesn't have IBUs. I'm usually the other way. I'm usually like, I like this beer because it has more IBUs.
Yeah. I'll notice a beer and I'll be like, if I'm looking at 2 IPAs or something like that, and I'm like, this one has IB.
Right.
Yeah.
IBUs.
I would be all about that one.
Right.
Because that's just what I dig for a taste.
Exactly.
In an IPA. You know what I mean? But because without a high IBU, I think to myself, it's sweeter.
Right.
But again, that's arbitrary. I mean, you're getting kind of, in another world, one of my big loves is like hot sauce and stuff. So IBUs, I think, are going the way of like the Scoville scale. Right. And it's funny because I didn't get to talk to any of the brewers while I was there, but our server started talking about, they wanted to keep it under 80 because IBUs are so arbitrary now that people are like, oh yeah, it's like, blow your tongue out at 105 IBUs. And, everyone's like trying to out IBU the other guy for no reason other than to have a higher number.
Right.
And
for the guy like me who just said, oh, I look at these 2 IBUs, I'm like, ooh, this one's higher. This was more like, but I get that. I get that.
But still, you get to that point and you use that as a reference point for making a decision. I do along the same lines where I don't necessarily. IBUs are kind of an afterthought to me. If I drink a beer, it's like, oh man, this is really good. What are the IBUs on that?
Right.
But my big litmus is I go for the big beers. So if I go into like, a brewery and they have 30 beers on tap, I start looking at ABVs like right away because I like the big stuff. But if I get a high ABV beer and it just blows me out with like alcohol, then it's like, hey, I see what you guys are trying to do, but it's not balanced. The same thing with IBUs. It's like if they have high IBUs, it still needs to be balanced. Don't be bitter for bitter's sake. The beer has to suit that.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, that's his whole backstory was basically he went into like how IBUs originated and what they're used for, and they're really just a scale for brewers for the most part to make sure that they're they're putting the same quality out all the time. That they actually can. It's one of the quality control things they can do is they can check the IBUs, and so. Then at some point, people started jumping on the kind of marketing the IBU bandwagon and was like, hey, like you said, I mean, this is higher IBUs and higher IBUs. And so, yeah, it was just kind of one of those things where it was like, yeah, I don't think I really... I'm with you, Jeff. I'm the same way. I think I usually pick a beer and I'll drink it, and then after the fact I'll be like, oh, what the IBUs in this are. It's more of a curiosity thing than a determining factor if I like that beer or not. So
but a lot of the industry has embraced that, and I'm not talking down to any particular company or brewer, but they know what they're doing because you get high IBU beers and they call them like palate wrecker, and fatality and all that stuff. So I love those beers. I mean, they're good beers, so I'm not trying to disparage any of those, but those guys know what they're doing. And they know that there's a market for people that, oh, this is high IBUs. I'm going to, blow my taste buds out with this. That's what I'm geared to do.
There's people like Nate that want those really high IBU beers, and then they're going to focus on those people. So, no, I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, I can see it from kind of both aspects. I mean, I understand he was upset about them using it, but at the same time, it was like, it works, right?
As someone who cares about beer, if you hear someone just saying some shit that's just completely untrue, you're going to be like, God, that's annoying. That's super annoying.
Yeah, at the end of the day, is it a good beer? I don't care what the ABV is. If I get something that's like, 4%, but it tastes good, then who cares?
Yeah, absolutely. A great example of that was like the Tangelo Goza they did, or whatever, the grapefruit Goza that Wilderness did was like a 3.2 or something like that alcohol. I could give a shit. That beer was so good. I was glad it was 3.2 because I could drink 32 ounce like it was a single person can. I was like, sweet.
Yeah. Those 3 that they did with the Tangelo.
Yeah, the Gozas there.
What was the other one?
The hibiscus,
and then there was another orange one.
Grapefruit. And if anybody from Wilderness ever actually listens to this show, if you could please make the You Bitter Recognize again. That was such a good bitter beer. Yeah. Now, but I believe they made that as an ESB.
So that's ESB. Yeah.
I believe they made it as that.
Switching gears completely. Yeah. It's from Goza to an ESB.
Now, just to bring up Wilderness again, we were just having a really good conversation about them before we actually started the show. And we decided we need to come down and actually have a seat and talk about this. But I was there on Saturday, and they've got some new brews out, one of which we're going to try tonight, which is the Chocolate Bunny.
Yep.
And they also had No Tiki, No Taco there. Now, what kind of, I think it was just a pale. I think if I remember correctly, it was just a pale ale. But I was, and now you can tell it's kind of like a polarizing name of beer anyway. Because once you get into, like Jeff was saying here, once you get into the description of it, you're like, But I was drinking that beer and it smelled just like taco seasoning. It was ridiculous. Now, we were talking about, what your general feelings were on that beer. And
right.
You had it, right, Chris?
No, I haven't had it, actually.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, no, I haven't had it.
No, but Jeff has.
I have not.
No.
Oh. And that's
right. Okay, you haven't, but why?
I'm the guy that goes into Wilderness and I see pretty much everything and I want to try it. And that was just one where it's like, I wonder what that is. And then you read the description and it's pretty much what you said. It's like it's taco seasoning and it's these things. So it's like, is it a beer? Is it a taco? And I mean, nothing against those guys. I love the Wilderness guys. But I have a lifelong aversion to the spice cumin. and the minute I read that was in there, it completely changed
everything. Huh?
Everything. I had no desire to try it, to smell it, to sample it, nothing. So I'll take your word for it.
That's awesome. I totally agree. I love. I'm all about. If that's your taste.
So 6.3 ABV, no IBUs, 3.48 rated on Untapped right now. So nothing too crazy high.
I'm sure it's polarizing as a beer to taste, but like I said, get a bunch of spicy tacos going with that. Or I was talking about cooking with it, like cooking up like a pork shoulder or something. It was insane how much of a taco. Just from the smell alone, it smelled like someone just poured a pail, opened up the little grocery store taco seasoning, chucked it in there, and brought it over.
Now, see, Nate, they may need to hire you as a marketing guy because as opposed as I am, I kind of want to try it now.
It was, and then once you get into it, thankfully it mellowed out as a taste, and you just kind of got which I imagine is some of the stronger taco seasoning, just barely there.
Right.
But it was generally just a pail.
So Draft Magazine actually released the best beers of the week for 5/17.
And it was on there.
It's on there. It is.
Really? I saw that. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Right. So that's kind of funny because that's what I read about too. Is that Arizona Wilderness, and they actually describe it as what they dry hopped it with Galaxy, Citra, and Mosaic. There's honeydew and grass atop of Mexican food with lime juice and salt, kind of engaging to it.
It's good. Like I said, it's super good. But once you get into it, it's a pale ale with some taco seasoning, and it is good though. But I mean, like you've had beers that are flavored with things.
Yeah.
As sticking to Wilderness is. What they do in the past, you can tell they flavored it by brewing with it.
See, and that's why I'm so conflicted, is because they're so good at making things that are like food items or non-beer items.
Right.
And they're so good at it. But again, it's not a dispersion at Wilderness. I hate taco season.
No, totally.
I love tacos. I hate taco season.
Yeah, there's just some shit you don't want to taste. Absolutely.
The only thing I want taco flavored is actually a taco.
A good taco, which they have there as well.
Right. Yeah, the tacos are delicious.
But yeah, the way they make that pecan pie beer. What do? They make whole pecan pies and they chuck them in. And it's like that's just cool.
Right.
So they brewed this the same kind of way.
Right. They actually it was how they brewed the beer was different than actually, like you said, adding flavor, adding like
an extract,
other things to it.
They didn't take some processed thing and make a flavor.
They didn't take a McCormick packet of seasoning
and
dump it in there.
I was trying to think of McCormick the whole freaking time we've been talking about this.
But yeah, that's another part of it is they probably went to like a bunch of different places or made like 1,000 phone calls to find a locally sourced place to get these spices to put in that thing.
And that's why it's hard not to appreciate every beer they make. Because of the way they go local, constant.
Crazy.
Yep. So anyway, I mean, that was just a good way to lead in, if anything, the next beer here, which we,
well, definitely do some more of this beer. Actually, and since we're talking about Tucson, there actually is some news from Mouth by Southwest, Barrio Brewing from Tucson.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to open a tap room at Mesa Airport. Nice. A little outside the airport. Yeah. It used to be another restaurant that I want to say. I can't remember. It was like Panger or something.
Mesa Airport?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Mesa Gateway.
Oh, okay, Mesa Gateway. So it's outside the airport, though, or is that a terminal?
Nope, outside. So you can actually go to it. Actually, I think they're going to have food, and they're going to have all their beers from Barrio.
Sweet. That's
which we had the Barrio a couple weekends ago before we went to...
We liked that, the Citrus Zona.
Yeah, the Citrus Zona. It was actually pretty good.
I've had a lot of beers from Barrio, and there's not one I've had that I haven't liked so far.
The Citra was a nice sessionable beer.
Yeah, Flight Deck Cafe is what it took over. So it used to be a cafe. And as far as I know, there's going to be food there as well. So.
I wonder if they brew on site or anything like that, or if it's just a tap room.
I mean, the square footage is 3,500 square feet.
That's pretty big.
So it's a pretty big area. So, I mean, if that's just a whole restaurant, that's pretty impressive.
That's a pretty great way to get into the valley. So
right. And then there's little south says what's at the give the name of that street out there that's going to be on.
It's only 5-10 minutes from here.
It's like Greenfield, and it's out by the dog park we go to.
That's Cosmo, yeah.
That's where I go, yeah.
Yeah, Cosmo.
No, it's what's it called? Quail Run.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Quail Run. It's like 202-ish Green. I know it's on Greenfield. I don't know what the cross streets are, but it's out there.
Nice. So
maybe McKellips, maybe Greenfield McKellips.
Okay.
Well, good for Barrio. That's got to be good for business.
Right. That's gonna be great.
I wish it was Pueblo Vita though.
Yes, I wish it was fun too.
If I could choose a brewery to put there from Tucson.
Sauceman. It actually says Sauceman.
That's a street you're on right now.
Yep, Sauceman Road, straight off there. So very cool.
Nice.
So Barrio coming to the valley.
That's kind of badass.
So actually,
being
the
someone who's like 5 minutes from there.
That's the thing is right. That. I mean, we talk about all the different breweries coming up in the valley, and definitely this area doesn't seem like it's getting a ton. I mean, 12 West is out here. And then what we talked about, the one over kind of by Superstition Springs Mall there.
I was talking about the amount of good breweries with Brandon Saturday, actually. Okay. And because we were talking about the line at Wilderness for the Chocolate Bunny stuff, to bring it back to them constantly. But, they're a local brewery and we drink
love
there.
Them. Yeah.
But the Chocolate Bunny, there was like, when we showed up at 9 a.m. just to grab breakfast, 20 people maybe.
Yeah.
And that's I've been there where it's around the building constantly.
Right. And it's so hit or miss sometimes. Like I went to, what was it, the release that I picked up beers for you? I can't remember what that one was.
Oh, but I forget too.
I got there, right, the Hibiscus. I got there probably an hour before they were supposed to actually.
Completely unnecessary.
I was the first person in line.
Yep, completely
I literally sat down.
And that is just to say that there's so much good beer in the valley.
Right.
Like Helton, I've still not been to Helton.
Right. Helton's great. Goldwater's good.
Helio Basin, I've still not been to Helio Basin. We've still not made it. I've still not made it out to 8-Bit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But I think, and Wren House with just to bring up Wren House, their can release they did,
dude,
which was gone in a fucking second. And they did 500 cans just like Wilderness does.
Did you see what they just did? I saw something.
Kit Kat.
They keep posting Kit Kats. I'm like, what's this about?
Oh, yeah, I saw
And
that.
then they posted this beer that's like been resting on Kit Kats. It's like, oh my God.
They didn't can it, did they?
No.
Oh,
it was on cask. Okay. It was I think they Kit Kats for a month. It was gone within a day. Like
really?
They posted online and somebody's like, is it still available for fills? And like, nope, it's gone.
I fucking love Wren House and I fucking hate them too.
Right.
Because I sent my wife down there to get Spellbinder and she was so frustrated because she couldn't find a place to park. They got like 4 spots in front of Wren House.
Yep.
And they got no good neighbors.
Nope.
Can I just, me, my virgin voyage on the podcast?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can I just put it out there that is there a law on the books in Arizona that in order to have a microbrewery, your parking has to be the fucking worst?
It has to be a micro parking lot. That's what it is.
Name one craft brewery in this state that has even slightly moderately decent parking.
It's difficult.
Only the new McFate location.
I was at McFate South.
Only the new, but they planned for it too.
Right.
They knew
it's better, but that parking lot still sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's in a shitty location. It's got like shitty entrances.
Right. The entrance sucks,
but at least there's spots when you fucking get in there.
Well, when you get in, and there's actually spots
still blows
behind it as well.
I've had issues going there, and granted, it's a Friday night. I know that's kind of on me where you finally find a spot, and then you look up and you realize it's like this is like dry cleaner only, you'll be towed. And it's like, man.
Katie called me from Wren House and she's like, I can't do, this is nowhere to stop. And I was like, fuck them, double park.
Right.
She's like, I don't know how do you double park? And I was like, don't worry about it. Fuck it, come home.
Damn it.
That beer was Spellbinder. I think Spellbinder or Spellbounder.
Binder, I think Spellbinder.
It was made with oat milk.
Right.
It makes me so sad. It bothered me for days to miss that beer. It was the one I asked you about. You were sick.
I was sick. I couldn't go. I was so mad.
I was sick that day, I think, and I was just like, "Fuck, being sick. Go to fucking Red House."
I was so mad because I went home and I actually slept for fucking like 6 hours straight. Like I was like out, and I was like so sad because I wanted to go get it. And I was just like torn. Like I'm driving home, and I'm like, I don't know if I can even make it. What time do they open? I can't even fucking go.
It was a cool can. It was made with. It was an IPA made with oat milk.
And every time I see the can, it fucking like it's very trippy because it's like 3D looking text.
Oh,
and
they
it
sold it.
Fucks with my eye.
They
sold I see the picture of them, like a block of cans.
Like Jeff said, their parking is just fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
I immediately and was like, you know what? You can't even park there at 2:30 on a Tuesday because I was just mad about missing the beer. Really, I was just mad about missing the beer.
Jesus.
So
after the owner replied and said, "You're not me. You're not mad at me. You're mad at your dad."
Yeah, I couldn't have him thinking it was me. I gotta go there.
Like they're gonna be like, I know this motherfucker right here.
I really hope I walk in there someday and see that on the wall, or like they put it on a cup like Wilderness did, or something.
That's the best.
I would really like to leave a really shitty review just so they put it on a cup, and I'd be so fucking proud of it.
I want to make an anniversary cup or T-shirt one day.
I do. I want to make an anniversary cup just by being a shit.
I really hope that people leave like shitty comments for us on our iTunes, and then we can actually get a T-shirt out of that. That'd be really cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, these guys don't know shit about beer.
They just like IPAs. Fuck them.
Misinformed, don't know shit. Yeah, stuff like that. Feel free, take any of those.
They may know about parking, but they don't know about beer.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, you guys want to take a break and refill our cups?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. All right, guys, we're back. Got a full glass of beer with these sweet glasses that Jeff got for us.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Actually, and unfortunately, we fucked it up a little bit. This is a killer glass that Jeff picked up at Thunder Canyon Brewery and Distillery while he was in Tucson. It's like an IPA glass. It's very thin at the bottom, bulbs out at the top. Super killer glass.
Right.
Unfortunately, we didn't do the right beer for the right glass. Right now, we got a nice full glass of Chocolate Bunny in here.
Right. So we should have put the IPA in this glass, and then which is a Thunder Canyon IPA. So it'd been kind of nice to have the beer in there. But whatever.
Hey, whatever.
I mean, I'm not going to do kick out of bed for whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Not having the right glass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Not drink it? Not drink it?
Yeah.
So
I refuse.
Yeah. So we picked this up. Now we did this Chocolate Bunny release from Wilderness. Like I said, nobody was there. Nuts to butts. Not a thing.
Let's hold it real quick. Let's flip back to actually when it was supposed to be released.
Oh yeah, they didn't release it about 3 weeks ago because of
quality issues.
Yeah, quality issues on the line with the beer. I forgot about that.
Which I didn't ever actually. Was it about the line or what was it?
They just said it wasn't meeting their expectations. Okay. Something about the bottling, the canning. I'm not sure what it was. But they weren't enjoying the way it was coming out.
Okay, well, it's good for them. I mean, most companies maybe would have still put that out, or
I don't know. It was very interesting because they canceled it, took it off tap. After either that day or a day later, they took it off tap.
Well, because we had it on tap, right? Because Dave, at his birthday party for a couple weeks ago when they released it, had it on a growler, and we tried it there. So I didn't feel like it was...
They had it on tap around Easter, and they must have sold a fuck ton of it.
Yeah.
They either rebrewed a batch, because they still released 500 cans, and it's back on tap.
Okay, so they had to rebrew.
They may have rebrewed it, or they just stopped and used what they had left. Either way, it's good. Can's killer. Can's badass. It is a milk.
Very cool. It is describe the can real quick to everybody so they can kind of tell you what it is.
Blue with, like I said, nice blue Easter theme with a chocolate bunny on it. It's rather depressing for Jeff.
Yeah, the Easter bunny actually looks like a hot chocolate's dripping onto its face.
It looks like it's in pain.
It does look like it's in pain a little bit.
It does.
So it's kind of.
I'm getting a Watership Down vibe.
Now, if anybody's seen that, I hadn't seen that.
Like every time I see it, it's like Watership Down.
He looks away every time. You just can't look right at it.
Yeah, on the back there, it actually has Wilderness's name, and then it's actually a collab, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, they used all the cacao. Came from Stillwater Artisanal.
Okay, so it wasn't a collab per se, but it was
all the ingredients like we were talking about. That's what Wilderness does.
Right.
They get the farms involved. They get local involved, and for the Imperial Milk Porter, brewed with cacao nibs and Madagascar vanilla beans.
Excellent.
Badass. Bottled yesterday.
Fresh.
Bottled 2 days ago.
Canned.
Yep. Jesus, canned. Yes, absolutely. I'm a fucking idiot. Sorry. Canned.
Bottled canned.
It's an 8% Imperial Milk Porter.
Nice. So I know. So they released this one week before they released. Was it week before the My Dingling? Right.
They did the My Dingling, and that was good.
It was really good. We'll try that at a later time here. And then before that, they did the stuffing as well, right?
The stuffing is still there.
Is it really?
You can still go there and buy a bottle of the stuffing.
That's crazy.
I drank my bottle yesterday. It was dandy.
Oh yeah.
Somebody I don't know who I was talking to. They just like, I didn't dig it. I'm like, I don't dig you.
Yeah, that was weird. I liked it. It was really good. I like Jester King. I mean, what I've had from them so far has been really good.
It's fruit and tart and sour.
Right.
Go enjoy. That was a freaking. And then they said to keep it for up to 2 years in the bottle.
Right.
I cannot wait to crack one of my bottles at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to do the same thing. I figured.
Wait.
I drink one of them.
I'm going to get that turkey. I'm going to get that cranberry on my plate, and I'm going to open a bottle of that. Cannot wait.
So in my normally... No, it's all right. My normal... Well, it's funny because my normal go-to for Thanksgiving is the autumn maple from the brewery.
Right. And
so this year I was like, ooh, now I got 2 go-tos.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
You have to, right?
That'll be a great dinner beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, this was released released right around the time of that, or at least it was supposed to be released right around that, and then they moved it back. And they did a killer thing with the people who did show up early ass morning for this beer, even though it was only 2 people. Yeah. Gave us all gift cards, and then we'd let us pick it up a couple days early, which is always nice walking into a brewery and being able to buy something that not everybody can buy.
Right, I mean, you feel kind of badass at that point.
I was like, I'm walking out with like 3 big bags of beer here. People are like, oh, I need to pick one of those up. Can't.
Sorry.
Not till tomorrow, and there's not a wait, so come on down.
I hate to disappoint you, but you will be denied, sir.
Exactly.
You do. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is honestly, it's sweet.
Yeah, so let's go through so aroma-wise, are you actually smell any of the cacao or any cocoa or what?
Honestly,
I mean,
it smells like coffee always to me. Stouts always smell like, coffee to me.
Okay.
But vanilla, you can definitely get the vanilla beans.
Yeah, vanilla bean there for sure. Semi-sweet chocolate maybe kind of smell to it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, not too much,
But it is like, it's thick.
I smell the chocolate and the alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. A little boozy smell to it.
Yeah. It's literally like smelling like an alcohol-filled chocolate bunny.
That is absolutely true. It does smell boozy.
Like when you get those little chocolates that have booze in them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you definitely get that porter nose.
Yeah.
But you get that strong chocolate and kind of alcohol kick in the back.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then appearance-wise, very, very black, very,
it's like motor oil.
I'm trying to put it to a light. You can... It brightens up a little bit, but not too much.
Yep.
I mean, it's not super opaque there.
Yeah, Jeff nailed it. It's totally boozy on the nose.
Yeah, love it.
And it's 8%, and it's nice boozy milk porter. It's an imperial. I love it. I think it's freaking awesome.
Well, that's 2 more steps. So taste wise, it's okay.
Just the smell alone, I love, Chris.
Oh, okay.
No,
but taste wise, so tasting the same kind of things, you getting more flavors from it by tasting it.
And what I really appreciate from a high ABV, but 8%, it doesn't taste super boozy.
No,
which is nice.
That's what I like about Wilderness is a lot of their high ABV stuff. You would never guess it if they didn't post it like in your face.
Yeah,
you could drink stuff and be like, hey,
yep,
I feel a little cooler than I normally do. And then you look, it's like, holy cow, this is like 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no way I would say this is 8%.
And I'm sure it's because they don't set out to make. Well, obviously, if you make an imperial, you've got you're looking at your bill of additives. Obviously, you're trying to make a high ABV beer, but it's not for the sake of just making it high alcohol. It flows well. It's nice.
I mean, I think it's just, I think stouts and porters, stouts for sure, kind of lend themselves to that higher ABV just in general. I mean, it's really easy to be able to get to that higher ABV on these style of beers. So, and again, it's great. This is flavor wise, milk, a little lactose kind of flavor to it. The booze is very well hidden. A little bit of chocolate to it. Some coffee after hints. This is gonna be great when it warms up. I'll tell you the truth. I want it to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, it is what it says. The chocolate is, up front and in your face, and the vanilla bean makes itself known. And
yep, absolutely.
Wilderness is one of those places where, they name something one thing, and it's not like, well, yeah, I kind of get that. It's like, no, that's definitely a chocolate bunny.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, this is really good. I'm trying to pull up the stats on this. Yeah, 8.3. Again, no IBUs. 4.09 on Untapped. So still highly rated for them for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. I was surprised at how there was so few people there to pick it up, but it might have been because it was a re-release, possibly.
Right. Well, I think you think people maybe would have been a little upset because it was not released the first. I mean, you said there wasn't that many people the first time.
Yeah,
right?
There was nobody in line the first time. Fuck them.
Yeah, people can't be.
You know what? They could have released a beer that was flat and shitty by the time you got it home. They could have released a shitty beer.
Right, and I kind of want to talk about like what you said. What was nice to They gave you gift cards.
I was shocked.
They allowed you to buy gift cards to actually, which was what.
Well, on top of that, not to interrupt, but okay, so I showed up there with Brandon that morning.
Right.
They did. They released it. They came out and said they released it on Instagram and said, "Hey, we're not doing this."
Yeah.
We showed up at like 8:30. I mean, like not too long, but they weren't doing breakfast that morning.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, so it was still 11 o'clock release, and they showed up about 9:30, and they came out and said, "No, we're not doing it." They let us in to the tap room early, like 2 hours early.
Okay.
They gave me a 32 ounce free glass. They didn't charge me for the glass. They just charged me for the beer.
Right.
32 ounce fill of the chocolate bunny. I mean, they took care of anybody who was there.
They filled the chocolate bunny though?
They filled it right then and there. Okay. All the seats were up. I mean, they were obviously just making do with what they could because they knew it was it was unfortunate for everybody involved. Right. But they gave me a free 32 ounce growler. Like I said, glass. Paid for the beer. But that was awesome. I was pumped with that.
Right. I mean,
and they charged us for a can. I mean, it's $12.
So that's
they took care of us. And then, like I said, they let us get the cans up to the 6. They let us get gift cards up to the 6 can limit price.
Right.
Went in there on Friday night.
Picked
my cans. Said thank you very much.
So, I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
that was awesome. They did not need to do that.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is that, when you see customer service like that, you actually have to kind of like, call it out.
Because to do that.
That's pretty amazing that they did that stuff for you. So
no, they did it well. And I was talking to the lady afterwards, and they when I went in for the My Dingling because I knew it was going to be gone.
Right.
They said we're holding 100 cans back for gift card holders, and you can still pick your cans up today.
Oh, beautiful.
If you had a gift card holder.
So I mean, it's
way over the top.
Do you think at some point that they're going to go to kind of what these other breweries are doing with the brown paper tickets? Like, that's something they might do. So people can actually just, because
I wish for Wilderness, but I wish for some places.
Right. I mean, well, as much as that kind of sucked for you guys to have to like go there and you couldn't get your beer, but you were able to pick it up at a different time and was convenient to you.
It's funny you mentioned that. We were talking about that over breakfast on Saturday. I was like, man, it would be great if places like Monkish went to like brown paper tickets or something like that.
Right.
Because they only release, they announce their releases 2 hours ahead of time. You're not driving to California 2 hours and making a Monkish release. So that'd be killer.
That's what I'm saying. So is that, I mean, do you see more people trying to do that, or is that something
not really. Not especially with their lines now. There's no need for it.
Right.
No, their lines are dead.
Well, but I mean, do you think that they could
get a beer release?
Could get more beers released, more people because of that, right? Because it's this, you can come at your own time kind of thing. Because not everybody can come at a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. And maybe they have been to some of the releases where the line's been around the block and they don't want to do that, right? I mean, Jeff, we talked about before, you'll never stand in line for a beer, right?
Well, it depends on the beer.
Some people really just won't.
Typically, I mean, every part of my body is opposed to standing in line. Like, would I go and wait in like a 20, 30-minute line for like a release at Wilderness?
Right.
Sure. That I had to have? Absolutely, I would. But like, camping out... But I mean, let me temper that with, I'm not a camp out for Black Friday or Star Wars theater, movie tickets or anything. As much as I love beer, I mean, I love beer.
Right.
But to me, in my 47 years on this planet, I've never had a beer that was so much better than another one that I thought it was worth like several hours of my life to get.
Right. Oh, yeah. In even more adding to that, a lot of these lines that people are standing in are for these IPAs.
Right. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Non-stop IPAs.
Well, it's because it's the trend right now, right? Those are the hot things. Those are the things in trade.
It is, and I'm fully on board with it. I fucking love them. You know what I mean? And I get butthurt when I can't get them.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But still, that's just me. You know what I mean? That's what I love. Like, I'm all about it. And granted, those are the people that agree with me. But if you're not all about it, fuck, stand in line for it. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, I've had some good double IPAs. I've had some good IPAs. I don't need to stand in that line for that IPA.
Well, taking us back to like the whole stuffing thing, it's like, okay, all these, everyone stood in line for like the dirty hop water stuff, and I didn't do that. And it's like, here I am on like a particularly shitty Tuesday on my way home from work, and it's like, I'm going to stop at the tap room and just take home whatever. And you get there and it's like, I don't get there and be like, shit, they don't have any dirty hop water. It's like, hey, looky there. DC Mountain Double IPA,
Yeah.
the Stuffing, Refuge.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, they didn't have that.
Yeah, it's killer.
I was crazy disappointed by the 3 other amazing beers that I got to take home.
Yeah,
right.
That was what I led with. I was like, oh, DC's back on. When I got there on Saturday, I was like, yes, please, at 9 a.m. Absolutely.
Well, I just didn't know. My thought was maybe they can get more people come in and on their own kind of thing. If you can come on a Tuesday after work, or if you can stop in and if you reserve those beers, do you think more people would buy them? Is that something?
I think there are definitely an audience of people who would love to see everything grown sold through tickets.
Right.
And I am partially on board with that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to get there, and that's not what these stores want. Like they just want people in the seats.
Right.
And they want to, places that I think we've seen some failed brown ticket sales for massive beers. Lost Abbey comes to mind.
Right.
And that's just because people were insane for that beer, and that's awesome. That's great for them. And maybe they don't have the infrastructure at their location where they want people standing in line for 1,000 cases of beer, that many people. So they're like, let's take this online.
Well, I think no matter what way you do it, I think you still have issues either way, right? So if you go with people,
you can't please everyone.
If you do it in person, people can't make it, so whatever, that's on their fault. You can't do much about that. But again, lines and people waiting, and you talk about. We were actually at the 24K release, and that was actually a good time because it was like a mini bottle share. There's people like walking up and down the aisle, like things, trading beers with people, drinking beers with people.
Yeah,
which, all in all, is illegal. You can't drink.
Yeah,
it's open container.
And that is part of the reason why a lot of these people do go brown paper tickets, because they got these people in California who just take it over the fucking top.
Right. Which sounds like a great time. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. But I also don't want to put these breweries in a spot.
Right. Where they have to say stuff like that.
That sucks.
But
it's like, it should be cool. Why not? Fuck it. But then it's like, what? If it's costing this brewery money at the end of the day somehow, or if it's costing them.
Well, it's going to make them not be able to release beers anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That alone would fucking deter me from wanting to do it.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you go online, like you said, you have to worry about brown paper ticket or fucking whoever the other one was, where they fucking just like.
As a large proponent of online sales, like I am with posters and things like that. Right. I don't want to see anything go. I don't want to see everything. Right. I want to see what I want to see go brown paper ticket is my own selfishness of like not being close enough to get down the street. But Wilderness is right down the street for me, so no, I don't want to see them ever do that shit. Right.
And again, everything kind of succumbs to its rabid fan base.
Yeah.
You can't please all the people all the time, and a lot of these smaller end breweries, they make decent money, but they can't go and give stuff away for free, or they can't make everybody happy by giving stuff away because someone was completely butthurt that they didn't get their can of this release, or I waited in line and there were 200 cans available, and you were the 201st guy in line, and then people flip out and they want some kind of they want to be reimbursed somehow for their time, and it's just like I said, it's with gamers and movie fanatics. You have like this rabid fan base that thinks that someone owes them something, and it's now again, kind of your point. I would probably be making a whole hell of a lot more trips to California for releases if I knew that when I got there I was guaranteed to walk away with what I was going for.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's my thought is that people in California probably are the same way for us.
They're us sitting here. They're us that they're like, well, Wilderness, Monkish is 10 minutes from me. Right. So fuck brown paper tickets.
Exactly.
Please never. They'll boycott Monkish if they go brown paper tickets.
Right. But they would.
But absolutely.
They'd want to do it for Wilderness, right?
Yep.
So that's the thing is like you said, you can't really please anybody, all people all the time.
Which is a great point to why Monkish will probably never do that.
They probably won't. Their fan base is so strong there, they don't need to.
There's no point for them ever to do something like that.
Though I did see their last can release. They posted like 2 or 3 times that they still had some left, and I was just like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, no, for sure. What was that? What's up? Pliny the Younger. Yeah. You remember the release stuff that came out when Pliny the Younger was coming out? They were like, be prepared to wait 8 hours.
It's it's every single time they release.
Yeah.
And you always wait. Like I always you don't even have to look for it because you always know. You find out it's coming out, and it's a certainty. It's like I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to go online, I'm going to check my normal beer news, and there's going to be the ubiquitous video of someone driving. They post on YouTube of them driving, filming the line, waiting for younger, and it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
I'll drink that beer someday, but I won't stand in that fucking line for it.
Nah, not worth it.
No way.
And again, how good is it going to be? How good is that going?
You're absolutely right.
Even if it's the most amazing thing, the skies aren't going to open up and a rainbow or like heaven's beer is going to rain down on your crotch and it's going to be the most amazing thing you've ever experienced in your life.
I will say this: Russian River has a lot of good beers.
Exactly.
Let's put it this way:
totally.
It's no unicorn frappuccino. I know that.
Totally. But seriously, look at just using Pliny for an example. When my dad picked me up a case of that and I finally had it, I was like, "Fuck, that is good. That is a good beer." But come on, I mean, it wasn't anything where you would.
There's no way.
You weren't going to be standing in line for 8 hours for that.
I love Pliny as much as the next guy. I appreciate when people give it to me. I appreciate when I'm able to have it. But again, I would not go to crazy, outstanding, immeasurable lengths to drink that beer.
It's been a year and a half since I had it. I'm not driving to 14 hours to fucking
I would go
Santa
to
Rosa.
Russian River any other time of the year and drink fucking one of the other hundreds of fucking great beers they have, right?
Oh, I'd like to go to Russian River the day after Pliny's on tap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the day they blow the tap, the day after is when I'd like to go to
Ghost
Russia.
Town in there.
Yeah, because
everybody's fucking
fuck
going.
that. I'd rather drink every other beer they had on tap. Yeah. I'm sure Younger is wonderful, and someday we'll have it.
But here's another perspective of all of those hundreds, thousands, however many people that come to that line. How many of those people are craft beer lovers who are getting it for their passion? I bet you 80% of that line, delving into the 80-20 rule. Yeah. 80% of those people are buying it to unload it on eBay or make bank off of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The beer trading of that shit is probably insane. It's probably crazy. You can probably go on to.
I wish I traded with that guy. I feel like I never trade with anybody who has anything decent. You know what I mean? Like I see all these people trading with like Treehouse and Trillium beers. I need to get me a trade partner like that.
East Coast, man. Anybody listen from the East Coast? Let us know. We'll do some trading.
I need to hit my uncle up. He's only 4 hours.
God, yeah, make that guy go work.
He'd do
some work for us.
But yeah, no, honestly, it's silly. Yeah. When you get to certain releases, and it's silly. Granted, one day I think Monkish announced one release like a day early. Someday we'll be available.
And we'll be available. We talked about it. You saw it, and we're like,
oh, fuck that. 2 of us, 4 hours there, 4 hours back. Yeah. Set. But that's what you do for. That's a weird thing you'll do for beer sometimes. Like I was gonna say, I was just gonna to put a period on the situation. But that one beer Monkish did where they had the hops all smashed up in lines like Coke.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I wish I was free. God damn, that looks good. So
yeah.
I forget what got us here, but beer releases.
We are low, man. So let's take another break, get some more beer, refresh, and come back.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we're back again. New beer, new topics. What do we got this time?
We do. It is the blueberry muffin from our friend in the Pacific Northwest.
Right. Now, is this actually brewed by Great Notion Brewing?
It is. All right. I need you the can there.
Blueberry muffin. Now, this is a sour?
Yes.
From our friend Mr. Matt Smith.
Thanks, sir. Again.
What's his Instagram? Buying
Northwest.
Buying Northwest. Go check out our buddy Matt Smith at Buying Northwest. If you're looking for a house in Oregon, he's your dude.
He is your dude.
He is your dude, and he likes beer. What's better than having a
real estate agent?
Real estate agent. That's what those
that will buy you a beer and drink beer with you.
And in good beer.
Yeah.
He won't just get you a shitty beer. He'll get you a good beer. So
get you a house, fix your computer, buy you a beer.
He's the man. So yeah, Great Notion Brewing. Didn't they have another beer that blew my hair back recently?
Yeah, we had the Return to Innocence.
That beer was nuts good.
Yeah, that was really good.
I remember I accosted you for the can because how much I liked it. I was like, give me that can.
Right, so I'm keeping this one. So
yeah, you're welcome. This one. Man, it's crazy how blueberry this can is. How blueberry the smell is on this.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to say about everything in this beer. The nose.
Like I said, it literally smells like the Hostess blueberry muffins you get at the gas station.
I was just gonna say, imagine ripping open a Hostess blueberry of those little mini muffins and just smelling that and just popping a few in those, and then that's the aroma.
Yes,
that's the aroma of this beer settled with just. Yeah. With just the hint of that sour, you can just tell you're about to dive into a sour.
Which is great. And then, clarity-wise, I mean, it's very light.
It looks like a golden sour.
Yep.
It's not quite clear. It's cloudy for sure. You can't see a finger through it in the light. It's just yellow-orange. It's so good.
Yeah, very, very, very light. I mean, not necessarily...
What a brilliant beer style to make a blueberry kind of thing in, though, you know?
Right. I mean, that's the thing is that we talked about this before a few times. It's the most acceptable
blueberry style I've ever had.
Right. We started going to fruit type beers and stuff, and
you get weary. You're
right. But I think a sour beer for the most part is kind of a beer that no matter what, don't get too crazy.
Excuse me.
Is that good? Huh?
Yeah.
It's just one of those beers that it lends itself to being. Fruit goes well with it for the most part. I think ones are kind of trying a little bit too hard, maybe a little bit, but sours for the most part, everything kind of just goes with them.
I've always been kind of an anti-fruit beer guy. I mean, this goes well back into like the cranberry lambics that they did, the cherry wheat. You know, it's like from a very young like craft beer dawning, I never had a fruit beer that I really liked.
Absolutely.
And then I kind of attached to one where back when I don't know if you guys remember Uptown Brewery, where Streets of New York out here, they had their own brewery. It was over off of like McClintock and Southern.
I remember the name.
They had a blueberry ale, which I mean, it was just kind of like an amber with blueberry,
right?
And it was. It captured me because I'm like a big like everything blueberry or banana flavored I like freak out about. So I saw this blueberry beer and I got it half expecting it for it to be horrible and like all my other fruit beer forays. Yeah. And it was not. It had like this kind of tart sourness, and this is, we're talking like, late 90s. That's here, cool. Before sour beers were even really a thing.
Way ahead of themselves.
And it just had like this really tart blueberry-ish flavor. So obviously I was crushed when I drove up to one of my favorite places to get one of my favorite beers to find out that they closed down.
Yeah, that sucks.
This takes that to a whole new level. Yeah. Again, that beer was like a kind of a standard ale with a blueberry flavor, right, where the blueberries were adding a tartness to it. Nothing like this. This is straight up. I mean, it's a blueberry muffin in a fucking beer.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. This fucking beer, like you said, definitely a golden ale.
Could you imagine having a big old slice of blueberry pie right now?
Oh my god!
Could you just imagine it?
I'd like some with ice cream, some vanilla bean ice cream. This would be great.
Yes, right.
It'd be awesome.
This beer is parable as fuck.
It's a dessert beer for sure, right? I mean, it is a dessert beer.
Well, I mean, it lends itself as being, but I mean, I'd drink this. I mean,
super refreshing, right?
It is.
But that's the thing. It's
got a nice bite.
It's very, very drinkable. It's not cloying. It's not sweet. It's not syrupy and disgusting.
It's a 5%.
You could get lost in this beer all day.
Absolutely, it is really good, man. I love these golden sours that get aged on different fruits, because that's obviously what they started with here was probably as a golden sour as a base, and then they aged it from there. But
yeah, this is a phenomenal. Again, how they got this flavor, like the flavor profile of this is insane. I don't know how they did it.
I would love to sit by and watch them brew this beer.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of people would love to know how they brewed this beer.
Honestly, and I'm not sure if I just feel like it'd have a different color if it was aged on blueberries.
Right. I mean, if it was a lot of blueberries in here, it would be.
I feel like it'd be a different color.
Yeah. When you poured this, I was really expecting like a kind of like bluish, grayish, purplish, kind of funky, like non-natural looking thing to come out of there, but it was absolutely not. I mean, like you said, this looks like a golden sour ale.
I really expected it to be, if they took a golden sour and they aged it on blueberries, I'd expect it to look different. But this has got it's almost like orange. It's almost a little darker than golden at this point. Like I said, it's not as clear. It's not a clear beer.
Right.
And what they do is just regularly, they brew like a golden sour, and then they literally dump like a million freaking Hostess mini muffins into it and straighten out.
Oh, I'm sold, man.
Right?
I'm freaking sold on that. That sounds awesome. Man, that's probably, think about it.
Homebrew.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Homebrew.
Next homebrew we do.
Did you know today's Homebrew Day? National Homebrew Day. So congratulations to everybody who's brewing some beer at home. But yeah, man, freaking good beer. Honestly, I can't wait to go to Great Notion someday because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try and find the worst beer on their menu and I'm going to try that first because everything else I've had from them has been freaking awesome.
I'm going there this August.
Dude, this would be the first stop for me is Great Notion.
Well, Great Notion, Cascade, Hair of the Dog. I mean, we've talked about this many times. There's so many breweries in the Portland area that if you could throw a stone and hit them, it's amazing.
Absolutely. But let me ask you, this blueberry muffin can, when did Matt send you this?
It's about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Easily 3 weeks ago at this point.
And this beer tastes fresh as shit.
Oh, yeah, it's still really good.
It's still really fresh as hell.
So they're evidently canning probably close up to beyond with Wilderness is how they do it. Because, I would imagine.
I see a crowler, I cringe.
Right.
I do.
Well, I mean, you know what? So it's funny. I actually got Squealers of Wilderness's My Dingling. And
right.
I was gonna save one for today,
and I was like, "Don't do it."
And you know what? And actually, I'm glad I didn't because I drank one the night I got it, and then like 2 days later, I drank the next one, and it was flat,
different beer.
It was real flat.
I was worried this morning about the Sky Island we had earlier.
Yeah,
that
was really good.
I didn't want my first foray into the podcast world to be this huge shit show.
Yeah.
Right. So I cracked that thing this morning and just had like a little taste, and it's like it was still good. But it's still, I don't want to say drastically different, but that beer is,
I'm sure it was
much different from the beer that I had in Tucson at the brewery.
Right. They get a little grassier. They get a little.
It just that IPA like sour bitterness had a lot more bite than it had at the brewery.
But honestly, sometimes when I drink a beer out of a growler, I think about what its potential probably was at the time, and I'm like, oh man, this is so good. Even though when I'm drinking, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, I bet this was freaking the tops off Groff.
Well, you have to almost adjust mentally for that difference.
Listen, but and I'm sorry for to interrupt you there, but Great Notion Brewing, I love the back of their freaking can. It's because it's like they made this company to just make beer for me right now in my taste. GNB focuses on juicy IPAs and creative sours, perpetual experimental libations. Our core values are family, quality, and creativity. It's like, dang, juicy IPAs and sours. Right, I need a house outside this brewery.
Right, I mean, that's the thing is that when you're in a market like Portland and there's that many other breweries making that many good beers, you have to be doing something that's that great. And they like I said,
I like that they just call out the kind of beers they like to make. I love that. We like APAs and sours.
They along with Helio Basin, were on the top rookies of the year, the top 35 rookies of the year of new breweries.
Surprised at least.
And again, I mean, I've been talking to you guys about this, during breaks and in between takes, but I haven't gone completely out of my way researching this particular beer, but in the time I've spent in Untapped, the time I've spent on Google, the time I've spent looking into this brewery. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen a single bad review of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Untapped 434. So that's pretty high. About 5,700 actually total check-ins. So that's for that many check-ins. That's actually still a really high score. So
absolutely,
I love this.
Per this can, they are a 7 BBL brewery. Yeah, that's it.
Not big.
That's nuts, man. Good for them.
Yep.
Never change. Please. Please never change.
So kind of skipped mouthfeel and taste, but overall, what do you...
It's just super clean.
Right.
Honestly, it's super clean. It's very... the bite is really nice with the blueberries and it's very crisp. Try it. Right. Honestly, if you can make it to Oregon, go to Great Notion because that would honestly be my number one stop.
Yeah.
After having the few beers I've had from the two.
Right, the 2 beers we had from them.
You can tell when breweries do things special. You know what I mean? You can tell when you're at a brewery, it's like, wow, I'm going to like a lot of what they make.
Right, it's right up my alley. So for a 5, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm a super huge fanboy now at this point of Great. After my second beer, I'm like, everything's a 5. But no, it's a great sour. It's a little blueberry, but you know what? I wouldn't want them to change a thing about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I guess if you don't like blueberries, it's probably a little lower for you.
Stay away. Yeah. Right. If you don't like a blueberry taste, don't drink it.
It's a little lower.
But if you don't mind it, and it's a good beer.
4 or 5. What do you think?
4 out of 5. Yeah.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Jeff?
I think for what it's named, I mean, it's blueberry muffin. I mean, this is going on the name and the description. It's a blueberry muffin sour. If we're
going Great American Beer Festival, to like measuring like in the style of beer, it's true. It's a 5.
It's a 5 out of 5. This is out of the park.
I could tell. I was like,
and the one thing that other than how perfectly it tastes like a blueberry muffin, is the carbonation in this is perfect. And I always do, like, in my head, I always do, it's like, oh, this is a big bubble beer. They're little bubbles.
That's exactly what I was trying to do. The bite is perfect.
It's perfectly carbonated. Everything about this beer, the mouthfeel, the carbonation, the color, the taste, everything about this is perfect to me based on what I was expecting this beer to be.
And that's a wonderful way to look at it, honestly. That's a super good way to grade a beer. Like, if you're looking at, like, a particular style, and that's why I talk about the Great American Beer Festival, because you can enter an amazing beer, but if you enter it in the wrong category, you're going to lose.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And so like this, looking at the category of beer this is, I completely agree with Jeff. This is a freaking awesome beer, and that's what I was trying to think of by bite was the carbonation.
Carbonation of the beer.
It's perfect.
I had high hopes based, the guy who sent it, Matt, he built this thing up to be huge. The reviews built this up to be huge. I'm a big blueberry muffin guy, so it's like I've been sitting here waiting for this podcast for this review. And I even came to Chris, and it's like, I will literally murder you if you tell me you guys drank this without me, because I'm so excited to try it. And most of the time when I get into that boat of that much anticipation,
the hype,
it's just a total letdown.
Yeah.
And I get
it's hard
all
to
these,
live up to it.
Yeah, you get these lofty ideals for what it's supposed to be, and this is probably one out of 3 beers that's delivered on the description and the hype that I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. No, I'm
not surprised it was Great Notion.
I'm with you guys. I think this is really good. I think like I said, if you went into this beer thinking anything different than that you're going to get a blueberry muffin, then you're going to be disappointed. This is exactly what it is. They nailed it.
They couldn't name it anything else.
Right. And that's the thing is, sometimes when you name beers a certain thing, you kind of have this pre-notion in your head that it's going to taste a certain way or be a certain way, and you almost have to live up to that, and they did.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, there's no way that you would, like, again, you look at the description, you drink this beer, they're on par with each other. So
when I imagine them brewing in this beer, I imagine them going to Costco and buying like a slab of the blueberry muffins and then just chucking it in the mash and just letting it go.
I really hope that's what they do. I really hope they figure.
And if it's not, it's what we're gonna do someday.
Exactly.
Dang.
Our first sour we ever brew will be this kind of blueberry with a Hostess fucking blueberry cupcakes and or muffins.
And another shout out to Thunder Canyon for their sweet glass.
Yeah. Keep reusing these things. These are great. I love this.
Badass.
You hear that, Thunder Canyon? You got a sweet glass.
It's a real nice glass.
We fucking love your glass. So we have 4.755. Remember on there, it's really high. I like this a lot.
I really love the idea of grading on like Jeff said. I really just grading it on the kind of beer that it is on the category. Because it's almost unfair to grade it against anything else outside of a sour or a fruit sour or something like that. Super good.
So let's get into
the awkward, the elephant in the room. Well, if it's not in our room, but it's in someone's room.
It could be in the beer world room.
The elephant in the beer world.
Man.
Yeah, it's true.
So recently, I'm sure if you know anything about craft beer, if you're not from craft beer.
It's a couple weeks old by the time you listen to this.
Right. So this past week, Wicked Weeds from Asheville, North Carolina, actually is the latest, the 10th, right, sellout to Anheuser-Busch InBev to their high end, which actually have a name now for all the craft breweries that have been buying up. It's called the high end.
Do they?
Yep. And actually, I did not know this. The Great American Beer Festival actually limits them, since they actually can consider them one brewery. Uh-huh. They can only I think it's 2 or 3.
Is that true? They consider them one brewery?
Yeah, they will not let them, because normally I think it's like you can enter like 2 or 3 beers. Each brewery can do that. They allow them as a whole.
Good for them.
Yeah, and people get pissed off about it, and it's like, well, you know what?
Fuck that.
You signed up for it. You joined fucking Big Brother.
Yeah.
That's what you fucking get.
That's funny.
Sorry.
I remember the first time I had Wicked Weed was my first time in London, as oddly enough as that. It was, you know what? I'm not surprised, because I see some of their distribution now. They work what they used to. Right. Not anymore, because everybody's dropping Wicked Weed like a fucking hot potato now.
Oh, dude, it is insane. The backlash from this fucking happening is
it's greater than any other brewery I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Honestly. Seriously,
it's insane.
It's larger than any other brewery I've ever seen.
So yeah, London, you had your beer.
I remember having a few of their brews. We went in. My dad brought me. He's like, "This is one of the places that come for craft beer. They even import a few from the U.S. and one of them was Wicked Weed." And I was like, "Well, let's try this," and it was awesome. It was great beer. That was 3 years ago. I mean, I know they've been making quality beer between up now till then.
And the last four we had was...
They used to work with Jester King.
Right, a lot.
They work with Jester King a bunch.
Yep, and then
Jester
Rare
King
Barrel.
is nuts. Yeah.
We got the Pernicious.
That's right. The Rare Barrel has said they're done with Wicked Weed now.
Right.
Wilderness made an article.
Dude, Wilderness made an article, and we can kind of go into that.
The owner of Wilderness it made one. We can get into that in a few, but yeah.
There's the backlash is insane. So they actually are going to be doing their... I
was going to say, didn't they have their own brew? They have their own brew competition. Yes, thank you.
So what they do is they actually have a Funkatorium, which they basically wanted new breweries to come and bring sour beers, upcoming kind of like breweries of like the 40 breweries. I'm sorry. 40 breweries are pulling out the Funkatorium right now.
It was 28 2 days ago. Right. That was another 12 on top of that. It's nuts.
Right. So the other day I saw it was 29. It was 20. And now it's actually, I just pulled up the article. It says 40 breweries are pulling out at this point.
And that sucks for Wicked Weed because the people at Wicked Weed didn't approve this sale.
Well, and
one guy, one or two people at Wicked Weed said, "Yep, this is a good idea."
There's lots of bad things about this because technically this Funkatorium, all the money went to a charity. Yeah. And that's a huge, that sucks because that charity didn't do anything and they kind of, I'm sure they probably budget for some of these things and that's really blows that they're not going to get some of this stuff. And also for some of these fan bases for people back east that can't get, Almanac beers or Arizona Wilderness beers, right? They were coming to this festival to be able to try some of those beers and now they're the losers, right? Yeah. Which it comes down to.
It's true.
So, that sucks, but if I'm a brewery and my core values, like in the back of that Great Notion can, some of our core values are this, and it doesn't, Anheuser-Busch doesn't meet that.
Yeah,
that's fucking. I'm sorry. That sucks. I can't get your beer, but I respect you more.
Yeah,
right.
I'm indifferent at this point because I hadn't been a big fan of Wicked Weed. You know what I mean? I hadn't had a lot of their brews, but I think it's interesting that a lot of breweries really care. Obviously, these were guys that were important to the brewery, to the craft brew industry. They were probably the
biggest or most well-known and well-liked brewery from Asheville, North Carolina. Like you said, there's you look at this list of people. It's Almanac, it's friggin' Arizona Wilderness, Allagash, Avery, friggin' Beechwood Barbecue, friggin'
Beechwood pulled out.
Cascade, friggin' it's just Funkworks, Green Bench.
Those are all the
Jester King.
Oh
yeah, I can go other half.
That destroys their festival.
It is the festival's gone.
That destroys their festival
at this point. People they delayed ticket sales. They were actually going to do them this week. They decided to delay them another week.
Oh, good.
To kind of finalize, to figure out where the list was actually going to be.
Hey, you know what? Wicked Week could have sold those tickets 3 weeks ago,
right,
when everything was still there, and that's good because you know what? That's going to change a lot of people's travel plans.
Oh yeah, yep, it really is. You almost think they should have waited.
Yeah,
they should have waited like a week or two.
But that's a double-edged sword because you wait. And this isn't an overnight development, so you wait, you sell tickets, and then the people who bought tickets are like, hey, you sons of bitches, I'm sure you knew about this, and blah blah blah, and you sell out.
That was the rightest thing they could have done if they were going to sell out to InBev, was to wait to sell the tickets because they knew it was going to be a problem.
Yeah, like they said, this isn't something that developed over the last few weeks or months. This is something in development for quite a while.
Yeah, it's weird. Again, we talked about there's buyouts for other, Four Peaks locally and then other places. Yeah. And this is probably, like I said, this has been the one that I've seen the most backlash for.
Think of it, I'm sure. I'm sorry to interrupt. By the way.
No.
I can't speak for Asheville, North Carolina residents, but I think if Wilderness sold out tomorrow,
oh my God,
I'd be pretty hurt.
Oh, it'd be insane.
And I'm sure just as I've never been to Four Peaks 3 or 4 years ago after they wronged me in a different way, I'm sure I wouldn't be back to them either.
Right.
And, and I'm sure I'd be pretty freaking upset about it too. I'd be pretty butthurt about it.
Yeah, it really does.
So I imagine it's a lot like that for those people.
So you mentioned, so Arizona Wilderness is on this list of people that will not sell their beer anymore. They won't collab with them anymore.
Jonathan Buford, the guy who owns that place, I may have completely just destroyed his last name. I think it's something like that. But he made a blog post, right, Jeff? I tried to read that, and I'm a bad reader, but Jeff did actually make it through that. Right. He's actually very good at comprehension and things like that. I mean, what was your basic gist of what you saw there?
I was reading that, and again, let me preface all of this by, I can honestly say I've never had a Wicked Weed beer in my life. I'm not the kind of guy that goes out and willfully seeks out beers that I haven't had that I need to have. I'm a very that's why Wilderness appeals to me. They're in my backyard.
Absolutely,
they're Arizona owned and operated. They use Arizona ingredients. They work with Arizona farmers. I mean, go local means an awful lot to me, and kind of piggybacking off your whole, if this were Wilderness doing this, I would be hurt, and I would be hurt. But I read the owner of Wilderness's blog post, and it kind of hit home with me because I'm not sitting here and I'm not the guy that's like, oh, fuck big beer and all that, and I don't boycott them willingly just because they sold out. I have had maybe one or two beers from Four Peaks since they sold out to AB InBev. Here's my take on what the owner of Wilderness said. I sense a fair amount of betrayal in his tone, but a lot of what he said is summed up in the last line, where it's like, hey, I know the owners. I'm going to have beers with these guys. We're not friends.
And they're on him from now on.
Yeah.
I believe he said.
Yeah, it's like we're not friends anymore. But this is what this means. No more like you said, no more collabs, and we're not going to do this. Okay. But if I meet with the guy, we're still going to sit down and have a beer and BS and all that. That's my big thing. Is I don't hold ill will against Four Peaks. I don't hold ill will against people like Wicked Weed. You figure you got these people that took a passion. These are probably, like homebrewer guys that never in their wildest imagination thought that they were going to make a living out of making beer.
And end up here.
So they end up making a living making beer, and then Big Beer
comes. They do
comes,
such a good job.
Yeah, Big Beer comes and they're like, we're going to give you a ridiculously life-altering amount of money to buy what you do because we think you do it so well. Anybody put in that situation is not going to say, no, I'm a local guy. I do Are there probably guys out there that are like, no, I have my integrity, but
absolutely. But you know what?
In the case of Four Peaks, $400 million is an awful lot of money to turn down.
On.
Well, but I mean, here's
especially with what Four Peaks is doing. I mean, they're a college town brewery. That's perfect for them.
Well, it's not only just the money; it's that and again, they're going to allow them to do their own thing for who knows how long, right? So at some point, they might come back and things are going to fucking change. But they're going to let them do their own thing.
Yeah.
As an employee for these companies, I guarantee they're getting a 401k now. I guarantee they have health benefits. I guarantee there's a lot of things that when you're an owner of a business and you see things that are going to help your employees and make it better, it's really hard. And not just the money point, it's other things too, right? So
and who can blame them? So thank you for saying that. But because Chris, that puts in perspective what my feelings on big beer and craft beer are. Why am I going to go give my money to a big beer conglomerate that makes billions of dollars a year when I got guys right up the street who, I don't want to say they're scraping by, but they're not making billions of dollars? No. I feel good about myself when I'm supporting local businesses, when I'm supporting, local goals. You got these guys that, Wilderness is literally like 2 miles up the road from my house. I feel good supporting them. I feel good with their product. I feel good that they go out to other small Arizona businesses to make their product. Right. Yep. That means a lot to me.
Yep.
Now, if Wilderness were to blow up and go AB InBev, I would probably stop patronizing him and find the next, cool local guy who I
doing
think,
the same thing.
I feel like the little guy needs my money more than a huge conglomerate does.
Right.
And I'm not making a big statement about the quality of the beers, Wicked Weed, Four Peaks, but it kind of taints my opinion when you go to these beer fests that we've been going to for years, and all of a sudden, the little tiny Four Peaks tent is like a huge fucking stage with bimbos and lights and all these giveaways and shit. I don't need stuff.
Right.
I want quality, and I want down home values to spend my money on. I don't need shit to spend my money on. I don't need swag. I don't need free T-shirts. I don't need koozies. I don't need bimbos.
And there's nothing better than walking into a small brewery and finding a great beer and putting all your money into that and just buying that. And if they're, and just doing whatever you can to support that brewery.
Right. We say like if you support every dollar you support in a local business goes back to your community, right? And that's what it comes down to. Is everything you put into a local business comes back to the community as a better. It makes it better for everybody, right?
I agree, but like you were saying though, the 401k stuff, it's just, and like Jeff said, someone comes to you, they think you're so good at making beer.
Right.
The head of InBev comes to you and they say, Nate, you're so good at making beer. We want you to do it for us on a much larger scale. We want to put your beer in ballparks.
Right.
We want to put your beer in football stadiums. We want to put your beer everywhere because that's what we can do.
Right. I mean,
and it's like you're going to see those dollar signs. You're going to be like, holy fuck, let's do this.
But not even dollar signs. I mean, ego too, right? I mean, some of the ego comes into play as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you're going to
know that someone thinks you're that good.
Right. You're that good, and that your beer is going to be that widely distributed and known and drank, and it's going to be
your fucking label is a knockout.
Yep.
What you're doing here is a knockout. Your marketing is killing it.
Yep.
We want to take you. We want to pump you full of more money. God damn, that's gotta be hard for a person. We only have one life to live.
Right. I mean,
but at the same time, okay, so I get it. I get these sellouts. I totally do. And again, if I was a person in that same situation, I'm not telling you for a second that I would dispute that I would be the one collecting that paycheck. But at the same time, you got Big Beer coming in, and Big Beer is all about their bottom line. So they're going to streamline, they're going to make profits.
Exactly.
And part of all the things that you sent, you're looking about all these sellouts.
Right.
And,
totally.
And, everyone says, oh, well, the quality of the beer doesn't change. Well, I dispute that because I can't remember what brewery it was, but one of the guys was talking that one of these places made like some crazy like cucumber goes or whatever. And the first thing that AB InBev did was, you're not using real cucumbers, you're switching to extracts because real cucumbers are too.
Right.
And right there, you're damaging the integrity of that beer. And again, we're talking peanuts, and it's not that big of a deal.
Oof.
But at the same time, when you take a recipe that you've been making that people have loved, and you change it by using an artificial ingredient over a natural ingredient, those are the kind of things that matter to me.
That's what InBev doesn't get. People notice fucking immediately when you start taking that extract and putting that shit in that beer.
Well, I mean, I think and so there was an article right after, and it almost seems like it was put out by marketing from Anheuser-Busch, because it was basically like the exact opposite side of the story of like it was on Draft Magazine. It was basically what it's really like to get bought out is what it was called, right? And in that article, the first thing is the brewer that was talking to him didn't even want to be talked about because he didn't want the backlash, and he knows that. So it's funny, he says that at the very beginning of the article that the backlash that he would have got from saying that, doing this story, he would felt from the community, right? But then later on, he literally says that people that actually are the loudest in the craft beer community spend the least amount of money. So you can't have it both ways, right? So is he upset that, he didn't want to be named because he'd get this backlash because they'd lose money, right? That's why you wouldn't want to be named.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it because they don't spend enough money?
Absolutely.
Right. So you can't have it both ways. So some of this article is when you read through it, it's very tainted. It's very one-sided. And some of the things he says, it does make some sense, but other things you're like, you could do that. And I can't remember who put it out. It was a California brewery. It's gonna drive me crazy now.
Lagunitas?
No, not Lagunitas. Sorry. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, they're fucked.
No. So, but there was actually he actually put out a thing basically talking about there was he was basically referring to another article where he would go through and they were like, oh, they let me here again, like, make this space and they actually bought this equipment for that I'd never be able to get and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, that's bullshit. I fucking know a lot of people that have a smaller space than they do and they have all this equipment. It doesn't take that much.
Yeah.
And basically bashing all these points that the person had. And I think this article
bashing the points that they had of being in positive of it in buyout.
Exactly. Okay. And so I think this article is almost the exact same kind of vein of it. It seems like somebody.
Buford broke that down expertly in his little blog post because he said the same thing. It's like, being bought out affords me all these different things in a larger scale. And Buford was kind of like, that's why we have like big lines of credit and all that.
Right.
They plan for the future and, no one wants to be in debt, but, debt's the American way. So is it better to be in debt? Or is it better to sell your soul, or the soul of your company to a mega conglomerate that basically at the end of the day has
they just need to see green
sole decision on what you're doing. It's like, hey dude, F yourself. I made this with real cucumbers, and they're like,
"Are you in the red?
Yeah.
Are you in the red or are you in the black?"
Right.
That's what it is. Honestly,
and it comes and that's my point to all this is that in this article he talks about it. He says that. There's a lot of things that Anheuser doesn't know, right? As a company buying craft like beer like places up or breweries up, there's a lot of things they still don't know, and there's a lot of things they don't know about the brewery they just bought too, which makes that's an awful point to point out that they don't even know anything about the brewery before they buy that brewery.
You'd like to think they do,
but they don't.
But really, and we've kind of touched on it. Jeff touched on it. You touched on it a little bit. These guys, they buy the breweries, and Wicked Weed. As of today, Wicked Weed has a massive influx of money.
Right.
But as of today, they're still probably the same brewery they were a month ago.
Right.
And next month, they may be the same. In a year from now, they may be the same.
Yep.
But when you are owned by another company, and you are owned by majority, even if like Lagunitas was, now they've sold out the other half, and they are completely a Budweiser company.
No, Heineken.
They are completely a Heineken-owned company, but Lagunitas is. They are 100% no longer a craft brewery for anybody listening to this.
Well, they're not an independent brewery.
Excuse me, independent craft. Take that for what you will.
Right.
Totally agree with Chris, though. But, I mean, sorry.
I get your point.
I lost myself.
And that's what I was kind of going to. That's what my point was, is that
you never know when it's going to change.
Right. At some point, the piper's going to fucking come piping.
Someone's going to say, today you didn't make the same amount you made last month.
Right.
What are you doing different? Because now I get to say,
right.
That's the problem with buying out.
Right.
Honestly, yes, tomorrow, yes, a month from now, a year from now, Wicked Weed may be the same, but someday they won't.
Well, and it's going to be... It's like you said, it's a waiting game, right?
Yeah. Someday they will put the finger in that pie.
Anheuser-Busch doesn't know what's going on right now, and they're trying to catch up to the craft beer and why people are so enthralled with the craft beer community and culture and everything else. But as soon as they catch up and they figure out what's going on, you can be sure as shit that they're gonna make changes to fucking everything.
Get it. I'm sure they understand why they're not there.
But this kind of takes me back to the whole Lagunitas thing that we're
dancing
avoiding,
around.
And that's probably a whole other
we're
podcast.
Talking shit sideways.
Chris, you and I go way back to Strong Beer Fest in
IP fucking A.
Yeah. These guys had a shirt that said Laga fucking Neatus, IP fucking A.
Yep.
When do you think you'll ever see that again?
Never.
And again, I think Lagunitas from where we started knowing them and drinking their beers to where they are now, there's been a decline. And I think there'll be a further decline. I mean, look at Brown Sugar.
Right.
These guys allegedly lost the recipe to that, and so now they have, this is what we think it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you just put out to the entire beer community that you don't keep good records, there's no organization. Right. I mean, good beer, I just had a bunch of Lagunitas IPA at my niece's wedding last weekend. It's good, but again, knowing that they're like big beer now, there is nothing keeping me to going to them as a go-to brand anymore.
Oh yeah, well, it's a matter of selection. If I'm at a ballpark and I see Budweiser, Michelob, Lagunitas, and I have to have a beer,
right,
I'm gonna have a Lagunitas.
Yep.
Just because I know it at least will be flavored towards something.
It's gonna be a craft beer, right? Yeah,
it'll be a flavor for what I want, possibly.
Right.
But no, absolutely not past that.
Well, and that's so as far as Lagunitas goes, and we said this about another brewery. It was at the Oak Creek, right? Mm-hmm. I think Oak Creek, and what you said, Jeff, it's almost like a time capsule. It's a very good snapshot of a time in the craft beer history. It was amazing for that time. And they kind of did what the Four Peaks did. They just didn't change. They made something really good. They stuck with it. and you're
I
like,
bet they're still making it.
They probably are. And then, people love it.
It's still good.
It's really good. But again,
it's still good.
They didn't innovate. They didn't change. They didn't create. I haven't seen a lot come out of, the Waldo was the last thing that came out of them. That was actually a different beer that was different from whatever they did. But, it's, again, there's tons.
Have you guys stacked up for pumpkin porter in the last 2 years?
No.
Not in the last 2 years. They probably got me.
Remember when that was a big Phoenix event?
Right.
It was huge.
Yeah. No, not
it was.
anymore.
And it was hard to get originally.
Now you just get pallets of it everywhere.
It was a pain in the butt to get originally.
Yep.
And I will say, I will still have a pumpkin porter. It's still good.
Right.
I think last time that's the only beer I think I drink from Four Peaks anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the pumpkin porter because it's still pumpkin-y and
I still think there's better stuff out there.
Oh, there is.
Guaranteed.
Dude, I was so upset that Epic didn't release their fermentation representation this year. Like I didn't see it anywhere. I was so mad because that for me, that's 1,000 times better than freaking Four Peaks.
Or
I can't believe they're not making new beers.
Uinta's Pumpkin Jacked.
That one's really good too.
That stuff's amazing.
Yep.
Oh, the Crooked friggin' Tree. Is it Crooked Tree? What was it? Crooked Stave?
Crooked Stave.
Or what about Avery's Pumpkin?
The Rumpkin and friggin'
Pumpkin, all that stuff. I mean, like I said, there's always, for every big beer buyout, there's going to be some little guy that comes in and fills that gap.
Well, and that's my another thing too is that there are at this point the diversity of choices we have is way greater than we've ever had, and so for a company like this that sucks, it's awful. But you know what? There's 1,000 more that are going to come out.
And they'll keep coming.
Yep.
And they'll keep coming.
I'm always going to support the little guy.
Yep.
And it's not because I think the big guy sucks. It's not because I think the big guy is sapping the quality out of it. It's because I feel I'm better suited. I feel better about myself supporting the little guy.
No, I'm with you. So
it's honestly, I know I can tell we're wrapping up here, but yet I just completely agree. It's one of those things that it's hard to rip on. Really hard. If the owner of Wicked Weed was sitting here and he had however many employees he has and however many bills he had, it'd be hard to be like, well, you're a fucking sellout, dude.
Right. I mean,
you couldn't say it to him because I bet he could lay out about 5 different reasons for it was the way to go.
And you couldn't look him in the eye and tell him you would be different if you were in his spot.
100%.
Right. So I mean,
couldn't agree more.
Again, and like I said, I think Jonathan said it the best. It's like we're not going to do business with you, and it doesn't mean our core values. I'll still have a beer with you and you're going to buy it. So
exactly. We're drinking beers, but you're buying from now on because you got the money.
Exactly.
So, no, it's the way to be.
So before we go, I want actually to touch on our beer with Historic that we brewed.
I think we came up with a date for the first weekend in July.
June.
First weekend in June.
First weekend in June. So June 3rd, the beer should be released. It's going to be released at...
mark that on your calendar there, Jeff. You were part of that.
Oh, I'm there.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
on up. But June 3rd, it's going to be released at Historic, the brewery itself, the tasting room downtown in Flagstaff, and actually I want to say their other remote location, which I want to say is Wickenburg.
Yes, it is. It's Wickenburg.
Something like that.
It is. It's Wickenburg.
So all 3 locations should have
a W something.
Yeah, I don't remember the
sorry, Will. Sorry, Historic.
Sorry, Historic. We love you still.
Yeah.
But it's going to be all 3 there. June 3rd, it's going to be on tap. It's only going to be at those places. I actually don't think they're going to let us do growler fills of it. So
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not a very large system.
Right.
So
it's only a 3-barrel, and it's going to spread across 3 different places. So
we're going to go up there and get drunk on the Hoppy Craftsmen brew.
We are. So if anybody is in the area on June 3rd, come up, have a beer with us. Celebrate. We can we can actually talk more about fucking this, Wicked Weed's fucking buyout. We can talk about fucking another craft beer.
We can talk about beer, period.
I will talk to you about beer for 30 minutes, complete stranger. So
yeah.
Right?
Talk about beer over a beer.
Yeah.
About beer.
Contemplating the next beer.
Yeah. No, Jeff, thanks big time for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We need to repeat this.
Where can everybody find us?
Instagram, Hoppy Craftsmen, at Hoppy Craftsmen.
Right. So
drop the Hoppy Craftsmen.
I have Craftsmen. Twitter, we're on there as well. Yep. Facebook. I mean, pretty much all the social media sites. And actually, we're on YouTube as well.
Ooh, YouTube.
So you want to watch some YouTube?
Nice.
We are hopefully in the works of maybe doing some video, actually live podcasting or video podcasting for everybody. So,
but either way,
thanks for listening. If you want to actually drop us a line, email us at hoppycraftsman@gmail.com. And then if you have a second, please go to iTunes and rate this give us a review or rate us.
Yep, good or bad.
Good or bad.
We like both.
Right. So that way we can
like both.
We can make t-shirts later out of the bad ones, and then so we can actually see what we're doing.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't lay that one out there, but either way, no, good or bad. Thanks a lot, guys.
So thanks for coming, Jeff. And as always,
no, like I said, big time. Thanks for having Jeff on this week. I'm Nate.
I'm Chris.
I had a blast. Thanks, guys. This is Jeff.
Thanks, buddy.